Hey over there, Joe Lunchbox.
And Joy Nightingale.
And today we have landed right here in Cold Spring, New York. Now we're going to do something a little different, but fits with us, don't worry. We're at a spot called Hudson Highlands State Park. Now you see, back when I was a little younger, I used to love exploring abandoned buildings. It's one of my favorite things to do. And then I learned trespassing's a bad thing, especially when I'm videotaping it, putting evidence out on the internet for the world to see. Not good. So I was like, if only there's spots where I could go to abandoned buildings and be allowed.
But wait, there is.
There is. So right now, we're about to do about a mile hike to something called the Cornish Estates. We'll tell you all about it when we get there. And it's actually an abandoned building in a state park that you're actually able to go see the ruins of.
Like, it seriously says right there, to the ruins.
Right there, to the ruins. And that's where we're going to go to. And we're going to bring you along. So before we start hiking, if you want to help us along on this journey not to the ruins, but through life, you could like this video down below, subscribe to our channel, leave comments of other cool abandoned buildings that we're allowed to go to, and stuff like that. But yeah, let's get started. So we're going to go to the Cornish Estate, so step right up. Let's go for this ride. Cornish Trail, 0.9 miles to ruins. Actually on the sign. It's not like you need to know about it. We've got a little trail mark so we know what we're doing. Nothing like an early morning hike to get it going. And if all of you aren't hikers, the cool thing about hiking is little trail markers along the way. As we're hiking along, this trail smells beautiful. And you can see these vines with these little flowers, all these honeysuckles lining the trail as we go. Smells delightful. And I like it. It's a pretty wide trail. Just got some dirt, one or two rocks. Flat so far. I mean, we're right next to a big mountain. There's some big trails you could go on if you want to go for some elevation gain. But we're here to see ruins. And if you're hiking along and all of a sudden you see two trail markers on the tree, it's not that marked it twice accidentally. It actually means the trail is going to turn. Because this upper marker is to the right, if you see, the trail actually makes a right-hand turn. Like that. This trail is pretty easy to follow, but a lot of times you might be out hiking with a trail that's not so easy to follow, and those come in very, very handy. We got mud. We came prepared. Hiking boots. You got it, Joy, you got it. Our first bridge. I'm glad this isn't ruined. It's always interesting ways to avoid mud and stuff. Like now you have some rocks here.
No, I'm kidding.
This is interesting. It goes from like wood plank to rock to a little bridge. It's like a big mixture of everything.
We came to these ruins once before for photography purposes. I used to photograph a lot of abandoned buildings, and we might have parked where we shouldn't have parked, right on the side of the road, about a mile down, only walked 200 feet to get to these buildings. But doing this hike is interesting. Like, look at these weird little puzzle piece steppers that we have now. All right, Joy, I think the trail goes up these rocks right over here. You ready?
Goes that way.
Oh, you saying this nice paved thing's probably the right trail?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, we hit pavement. Didn't know if we hit pavement, but we did. Taking a moment break on our hike to appreciate the view of the Hudson River. Across the river from where we are right now is just north of Bear Mountain, around the West Point area of New York is what we're looking at. Not West Point itself, but around there. Good view of the Hudson River. I found the springs. Okay, it might just be a trickling stream, not a spring. But I'm calling it El Agua. No, El Agua de Gato. Just because someone did a cat here in the cement, so that's what I'm calling it right now. We've made our way to the Northgate driveway to replace the steep and winding Breakneck Valley Road that approached the mansion from the north. A new driveway was laid connecting the mansion to Shore Road, present-day Route 9D, from the south. The major undertaking required significant engineering and rock blasting, culverts and spillways directed runoff alongside and under the road. So that means we've actually been hiking up what is their drive when you see the little spill-offs on the side. And here is the Northgate project. You can see what the house once looked at, courtesy of the Highland Studios of Cold Spring. And you can see what I love, how many buildings and ruins they are. We are there. And there's the residence. A brief history. Starting in 1904, Sigmund and Dove Stern began to purchase many small farms to create a 650-acre estate in the Breakneck Valley. In 1912, the Sterns engaged the firm of Warner and Windolf to design a country estate that would include several outbuildings, gardens, and a swimming pool. The architect controlled the flow of water from natural springs and waterfalls around and through Northgate, utilizing the natural resources to create a scenic and tranquil retreat. After the death of Dove Stern in 1915, Sigmund Stern advertised the property for lease or sale. Edward and Selina Cornish leased the estate in 1916 and purchased it in 1917. The Cornish enjoyed the estate for the following 2 decades. In 1958, a fire left the house in ruins. In 1963, the Central Hudson Gas and Electric Company purchased the 650-acre estate as a potential site for a new power plant. Amid negative public relations to the plan, the utility company sold the Northgate Estate to New York State in 1967 to become part of the Hudson Highlands State Park. And as we hike to the Cornish Estate itself, just a little more history about them. When Edward Joel Cornish and Selina Bliss Carter Cornish moved here, they were moving out of the city in 1917. You see, back then Cornish was the president of the National Lead Company. That's what he made all of his money in. Sadly, in 1938, tragedy struck when they both passed away within 2 weeks of each other. It was the son that was taking charge, but didn't really take care of the maintenance of the house, and there was the fire that left the ruins that we're about to see. Circa 1914, courtesy of the Stern family. And this is the view more or less from where we are standing. If you don't believe us, if you see the stone,
Right behind
as
the
I
trees.
pan up and zoom in, you can start to make out the stone structure behind all those trees. So we're about to go check out. First thing we are approaching is their swimming pool, and now we get a good first view of the ruins. I love the fireplaces in this thing, all the stone that's left. Photo of the view by the pool. The Northgate Mansion appears here soon after it was built, with the pergola and stairs to the swimming pool also visible. To the left of the Northgate Mansion was a farmhouse, one of the several that existed along the Breakneck Valley Road in the 19th century. The people in this photograph remain unidentified. Who are you? Who are you? Here we see the view of the pool with the mansion behind. I like this. A real estate brochure advertised the Stern Estate to potential buyers. Circa 1916 to 17, the sunken garden and fountain appear here, just above the spring-fed swimming pool. I love it. The swimming pool actually was fed from springs, natural water. Inside the swimming pool, still's got water in it. Joy, ready for a quick swim?
Ew.
No? What I like is that they were saying it was a natural spring swimming pool. So you figure water had to come in and water had to come out. So we actually see a little lower level here. And this would have been the overflow to that swimming pool, bringing the water back down the stream. And we can see coming from up the hill, the little lower part of this area, this would have been bringing water into the swimming pool. Joy in the ruins. But I have to say, she doesn't ruin this shot. You can see what we're looking at, where the water would come in and then the water would go out. It's unusual seeing so few trees back then. We're talking about, this photo was taken 108 years ago, and all those little trees planted. And you look at it now, and it just looks like a forest. Photograph taken during the stern period of ownership, showing the pergola that once extended west across the lawn. The house from this view shows an eclectic mix of architectural styles, a rustic style stone first floor, a Tudor revival gable, and a third floor that was inspired by the prairie style of architectural popularized by Frank Lloyd Wright. Photograph of the window, courtesy of the Cornish family, and then 1912 1915 the house.
That's insane. That was one of the only 2 images known to have been taken from inside.
It does look a lot different now. You can still make out. You see where that window once was? You can see where that window stood. Checking out the fireplace. We can still see where that fireplace stands today.
The dome is right behind the trees.
That dome window, and then you see the square window right along next to it. That dome window's behind the trees, and the square window's right to the left. It's interesting, as we thought we were walking on mud, but then you start seeing the old brick floor that once stood as we're going upstairs approaching the house. And now this is what I'm saying. When I used to go explore abandoned buildings, and it involved sneaking on, trespassing, it's nice that this is actually a park and we could just walk right in and admire the beauty of this fireplace with the chimney turning at the top. See the basement, first floor fireplace, second floor fireplace. It's interesting, picturing that there used to be rooms here instead of like one fireplace, 2 fireplaces, another fireplace. The fact that one time this was someone's full home, their dreams, imagine memories like blowing out birthday candles, all that, and this is all that remains. And how we're reading how the styles are so different. It's interesting when you look at just the architecture of just the fireplace. This one has more of the rounded top with the stone. And when you look at the second floor fireplace, it wasn't stone, that was a big brick one. Got a nice little tile patch here on what might have been the veranda. I don't know if there's a little front porch thing. As we were looking at, this said they'd walk down to the swimming pool.
Gotta follow it that way.
Yeah. I do think my favorite thing about this house is what remains of all the fireplaces and the chimneys. How different architectural and weird turns that they all take, with numerous fireplaces going up the chimneys. Went a little more north of the house, and it's funny how nature's taking things back that I didn't at first realize. This stone wall that probably used to surround the westernmost part of their house, heading down towards the Hudson River. Picture back then, big estate, maybe like a Model T or an early car driving around this circle. Looks like a carport. The driveway went right under the house. This is a really going, this sign that we have here. Northgate is still under construction, but almost complete in this photograph. You could just see where the driveway I was showing you was, and the car would drive underneath that. Do you like the arch? This one has me a little scared. Every time I think of the arch, I think of that center keystone. And you can see the biggest spot where it's separating is that center keystone on this one. Picture car would just pull up right through the door. We have some hexagon style patterning here on some old tiles that are on the ground. So I guess I'm walking in what would have been the basement. Oh, big bird of prey flying overhead. Hopefully he doesn't find me as be dinner. I think this is as far as we're gonna go in the basement though. Looking at all these plants here. I haven't seen any poison ivy yet. It doesn't mean that there's not any poison ivy through here. We got a good view. Let's just take a look at the diamond patterning around this first floor fireplace. But that's what I love. Oh, it's not even diamond. There's little peaks to them. It fascinates me how I was saying how every room would have been done different. So we've had brick fireplaces, stone fireplaces, tile fireplaces, and a joy.
It's crazy. Hi down there.
High up there. What's crazy?
No, just all the different styles like meshed into
One house.
one house.
I wonder if Stern had this built, if it was the architect's idea, or did he just sell the architect all the styles that he liked and had it put in? Because it's interesting seeing like archways with doorways, and there's so much, like you're saying, different architectural styling in one structure.
Right.
As I'm sitting here in this abandoned building, I figure this is a good time to tell you a quick story. You see, back in 2005, I was just getting ready to graduate from college, photography major at Hofstra University on Long Island, and my big senior project was looking through a keyhole, and it was photographing abandoned buildings from the inside out through windows. And I was looking for cool abandoned buildings, and I found this really awesome one in Staten Island that was scheduled to be torn down, and I had to go into it. And this ties into what I was talking about before, not wanting to trespass. So me and my best friend, a guy named Garrett, then we got to this building, we made sure no one's around, we slid under a fence, went into this building. Got amazing, beautiful photos, but we're waiting to leave. And every 5 seconds, there's another cop car going by, another cop car going by. And we're like, did someone see us come in, call the cops? And we were nervous to how are we gonna get out of here? And that's when we were standing on the third floor looking at a window. And we didn't realize when we went in that the building was situated right next to a police station. And we broke into an abandoned building and trespassed on it right next to the police station. We managed to get out, but timing that was crazy. And then we definitely had a little adrenaline rush, heart beating there. Because if we saw the police station, we probably wouldn't have went into that building in the first place. But we're not saying going to abandoned buildings, don't trespass. That's why you should come to see stuff like this, where it's a park and you're allowed to come see it. But it is a fun story, and I wanted to share it with you all. And you have to remember, this just wasn't a house. This was an estate back then. We already saw this, which was the main house, but as we turn around, we actually see another structure behind, because there was a farm here, there was a pump house. All these other buildings were on that property at this time, so there is ruins of more than just the main house. Ooh, lots of broken glass. This building definitely was subject to a little more graffiti than the last one. We have Big Abe here. It's like, oh, the stairs. It was already scary enough in there. Nothing like going into the darkness. If you're a snake, please go away. Oh, it is. Ooh. I am standing on a floor, but it is hollow beneath this, so I am not going to proceed any further because I don't know how sturdy this is. But we made our way down the stairs to some sub-level basement. I mean, there were stairs. I had to go down them. So, judging from this photo is saying that the building we were just in was the greenhouse. The photograph shows the greenhouse about 1930. It appears that Edward and Selina Cornish in part used the greenhouse for winter storage of palm trees and other exotic plants that were placed in front of the house during the warmer weather. A boiler in the basement provided heat to the building and sprinklers. It always is interesting seeing of what it looked like then to what remains now. It is amazing. Was once someone's dream. This was just it is. In a state park, these ruins. They passed away. Their son didn't really care for it. Burnt to the ground. Then just left for nature to reclaim. I love the big hinges that used to open and close what remains of that door. Another before and after photo. The view of the south end of the mansion. So this is the approach from the driveway. And here's what it looks like today. So we still have the mile walk back to the car, but we saw it. You don't need to see the mile walk back to the car. We came to see the Cornish Estate ruins, and we got to share it with you, which is something I've wanted to do for a while. We've discovered this a few years ago. One of our good friends showed it to us, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I know it's a little different, these abandoned buildings, but we still like going to them, so we figured might as well share it with you. But I think we could call it right now, Joy.
I think so.
Cornish Estate ruins here in Cold Spring, New York. Been there, done that. Remember, folks, safe travels.
Good eats.
And live life.